Some people say, okay, so you're
Moran?
going to record. Mhm,
Yeah.
go ahead.
So but I wanted to make sure it's Ed Moran, the Octopus's Garden,
Yes,
right? Did you get made
yes,
fun of by your last name that someone used another word?
of course.
Yeah, that
In
pissed
fact,
you off still?
there was a guy here who was doing it all the time. And finally, I told him to stop like 6 times. On the seventh time, I told him I'm going to take his golf clubs. I'm going to throw him in the pond if he doesn't stop. Everybody was kind of cheering me on because he thought it was funny, but after 6 times, that moron, it's like okay, enough, you know.
Well, who's the
Uh,
moron? I guess it's not you, it's him, right?
no, he's pretty much is, but
I think
he's
that's what you
kind of
call
like a
irony. I think it's the definition of irony, right?
yeah. But
Okay,
he
so
would get away with it because he was so cranky to everybody. He had like a poetic license to be that way, I guess.
it's actually a good way to live life, right? You just be a crank and
Yeah.
be negative, and then nobody has any
Everybody's just
expectations
like
of
fun.
you.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ed Moran, The Octopus's Garden is the sci-fi fantasy screenplay. Really great script. Um, this one, like, I can see this in animation. I can see this live
Yeah.
action. What's your idea for it?
Well, the thing about live action, because I've written things before, and then you bring an actor in, like on the plays I didn't, and they just brought so much extra to the part, to the story, to everything.
Yeah,
So what you get in live action is you get an actor bringing extra to the story. Animation, that typically doesn't happen much.
yeah.
Um, so, but so I have a producer who does animation who I talk to a little bit. So that would be interesting because he's at least kind of dialoguing with me a little bit on this. Um, but nowadays with CGI and everything, they could do a combination almost a little bit.
Yeah.
But hey, I think both would work. I think the story's kind of fast paced. It's got some interesting things. Animation would be interesting as well. The problem with animation, you don't get that live actor coming in and like adding something to the role,
Well,
that you would with a live
you
actor.
could do what Disney does. You do it in animation and then you do it in live action and make more money, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's
Right?
fine with me.
Okay, so where did this where did this idea come from with like the octopus's garden? So it's
So
about
I
Gilly,
was,
who is an old he's an intelligent, gigantic octopus, right? That's your main character.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I saw a couple things on TV about octopus, and I didn't realize how smart they are. And if you go on TikTok, you see them opening jars, and they all. So I thought, you know what? Suppose this octopus, they lived 3 to 5 years, was decades old. That was the premise. And then the first scene I had was in a sushi bar, seeing octopus sushi served and destroying the place. So
Yeah.
it's like, so everybody, as I'm playing golf, I'm kind of talking. And they're like, that's kind of an interesting scene. So, so then it was like, okay, how do I get a super smart octopus, decades old, and how do I get it into a sushi bar? So I was like, okay, North Korea has this marine biology for military purposes program. They're bringing all kinds of animals in, training them for military purposes, and they bring octopuses in because they're really smart and they know that. And then there's a lab accident. The octopus gets mutated, and that is Gilly. Gilly, years later, she meets a marine biologist who's working off the coast of Honolulu, and they develop a relationship, and her and a partner. So Gilly brings him to the Mermaid's Cave. I went to Hawaii so that I could kind of check it out and find good spots. So she's in the Mermaid's Cave. They build out what is the octopus's garden. It's got all kinds of monitors. It's got all kinds of tech, language she can learn, and they bring saltwater plants down so it becomes like a garden as well. So she's learning and learning and learning, and then I turned it into a comedy somewhere along the line. So I wanted to get her kind of like strange. She's clumsy and she likes the old comedies the best. So
Mhm.
she's watching the Dick Van Dyke Show. She's watching because I wanted to get some of the old comedy, like the Bowery Boys in particular. I had an idea of bringing Slip Mahoney mispronouncing words, and I put that into one of the characters, and it kind of makes it a warm. Like she's like really she's a super smart techie, but she's always mispronouncing her words, and that would kind of add levity to the drama and to the action and to kind of the chaos that was going on. So I come up with different ways. So I had that scene. Since you can mutate, she can also mutate her gills to breathe air for a short period of time. That's how I could get it to the sushi bar.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but it's were you worried that it's also a Beatles? I'm sure you're aware it's also a Beatles song, right? The Octopus's Garden.
Yes. So you're allowed to you can copyright. There's no copyright on the song title unless
Okay,
you use it maliciously. Then it could be a problem. But if you just so I checked that there's no copyright in the novel version. I do not quote any lyrics. In the screenplay version, you would have to if it ever went to production anyway, you would have to pay for that.
sure, of
So, and
course.
there's a
Yeah.
so
Well,
I'm like, you
it's
know
the
what? If it
Beatles. It's
gets
going
to
to
that point,
cost a pretty penny, right?
yeah, but maybe not so much if it's just like a little bit here and there. Because they and so that if that didn't work, it kind of like because she can play the violin and she plays the octopus's garden at one point, and they but I can take that out and still call it the octopus's garden.
Gotcha.
There's no copyright on that.
You're a fan of the song. You're a fan of the Beatles.
I like the Beatles. I like that song, and I just thought it was right for this story where she has this whole garden, and they come down and like it's the octopus's garden, and it's like, so I thought it was a good fit that title.
Ringo sang that one, right? One of his rare
Yeah, I
songs.
think Ringo. Yeah, I think so. So
Yeah.
he'd be okay with it.
Yeah, yeah, there's two alive,
He's the
right? Paul
easiest
and
one.
Ringo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's alive. So, and
Yeah.
now I don't even think they own the rights anymore. They're bought by Apple or something, someone
I
else.
think Michael Jackson bought the rights way back when,
Oh,
right?
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
So
you
that
guys so
was so I
basically
had my scene and it ended up being so I'm like, how do I make this funny? So I'm like, I was watching TV and a baby's and I'm like, I put a baby in there. And then I added a robot dog that's kind of buggy. And so I got this whole group that's like expanding and they're involved. And now I have character-driven story that has warmth, humor, and a lot of action and
yeah.
activity. So I got a good start on it. That was the first 30, 40 pages.
So on a regular basis, how long do octopuses live? How many years?
They could be 6 months if they reproduce right away, because then they stop eating.
Not long,
They
right?
die. Yeah, 3 years, 5 years.
Even if they're like in a zoo or in an aquarium?
That's I would think probably longer in that
Sure.
situation, but
Yeah.
I didn't check that out. But in the wild, it's 3 to 5 years. Typically, once they reproduce, that's it. Once a male reproduces, he dies almost right away. The female waits till she lays her eggs and then she doesn't eat anymore. And she just they have some fancy name for it, and she just dies off. It's
There's
amazing.
something really interesting about that. Well, because like
That's weird.
well, think about it, right? Like if they're 5 years old and they have this intelligence, they're smarter than
Yeah,
we are, right? That at
they're so
five,
smart.
right?
Yeah. Oh, at five they are. And
Yeah.
there's something in the DNA that it gets passed down to them as well. That intelligence, they have it almost right away.
Yeah.
It's just they're like an alien.
Well,
You know,
I brought that up in my notes is that there are theories that octopuses
could
are aliens,
be,
right? That
and they could be
through the
smart enough.
mutation. Yeah.
So Gilly is super smart now. She's decades old. She got this information hub,
Yeah.
so she can communicate. She can do tech. She's clumsy. Her name Gilly because of the SNL skit where Gilly was always throwing stuff.
Oh,
So I
that's
was
what I
looking for
was
the right
thinking
name.
about. Like Gilly,
Yeah,
Gilly.
yeah,
Like yeah,
Gilly,
I was
Gilly.
gonna ask you
So
about
I
the
thought that was the right name for her.
Stewart, right? Or not Kristen
because
Stewart,
she knocks a
Kristen
bunch
Wiig.
of yeah.
Yeah.
That was Christine Wiig doing that
Yeah.
character.
That's so funny because it's so funny, Gilly.
Yeah, Gilly. And there's
Okay.
a scene that kind of replicates that a little bit in the story where she's throwing crab legs at him to get his attention. She's like, Gilly, Gilly.
So
So I
there's a
replicated that a little
potential
bit.
for a sequel that where Gilly goes to outer space, right?
That's what my brother said.
Okay.
It's like Gilly in space. He's like, it's like SpongeBob. I'm like, no, this isn't SpongeBob. I didn't want it to be
She
SpongeBob.
goes and finds her people, her like in
It could
like right.
be.
So
Or that I did set up at the end, the North Koreans are like, I want to capture her. I want to brainwash her. I want.
yeah,
So it could be that they try and get her. But sequels are tough because sometimes you take something good and you kind of ruin it with a sequel.
sure.
Um, yeah, I mean, very few really good sequels out there. I think a good example is what was the one with Hangover? Hangover was hysterical. Hangover 2, eh. Caddyshack too.
Oh, they're
There's a
terrible.
lot of bombs. Yeah, there's a lot of bombs. But they pull them off sometime too. The sequels, you need some really good new writers to come in on the sequels, I think. I mean, I get amazed when I look at series on TV that they just, they managed to keep the story going. There's several of them, like the 100 was, they just kept it going. I was surprised.
Yeah,
They need a good team of writers to collaborate on that.
100%. You got to keep the essence going, but then you can't. You got to like Hangover 2 is just the same film, except that they're in
It's
Bangkok,
the
right?
same thing.
It's
Yeah,
exactly
it's
the
just
same
like
film, but instead of
they
being
try and
Vegas,
throw
they're in
Mike
Bangkok.
Tyson in there. Yeah, it's basically the same thing, and so it wasn't nearly as funny. It was
Yeah,
still funny, and three really dropped off, and even the ones with the car and the Back to the Future, they kind of died out too. And
yeah,
I was funny because Avatar, they said I'm never making a sequel. Now he's on the third one. When
sure.
he first came out with it, he said I'm not making a sequel. This cannot. There's just too much money, so we made two, and I didn't think it was as good. Three, I don't even think I'll watch it. I mean, I'll see it eventually, but he kind of sold them, said I got to. There's too much money on the table. I got to do the sequels.
Okay, so
So
you started like according to the blog interview, you started writing. I guess you wrote plays in university,
yeah, mhm.
and then you
They
wrote
were
this,
they were good.
right? So when did you guys kind of get into screenwriting?
So I wrote the book I have, The Dream Catcher of Rehoboth Beach. It's actually a really good story. That one's similar and it's character driven. This Native American, she makes candies in the shape of the animals, and you can get that power of the animal for a short period of time. But she can't take it because she's too angry. She lost her parents, they lost her culture, so she has to find vehicles to use these candies. So it was a really kind of cool idea, and I used the Native American mythology to figure out how do I get a candy in the shape of an animal? How is it even feasible? So I had to go back in time, and this mysticism lives inside the stream catcher. I wrote that as a screenplay. I submitted it, and the first review was polite, very constructive, and said you got the wrong character, blah blah blah, but polite. So I changed it, and I put a lot of like time back and forth. The second one, it was a little more direct. My head's spinning from all this stuff. It was like, and it kind of hurt a little bit. So I screw it. I'm going to turn it to a novel, and I'm going to do it chronologically from Mother Earth creating Earth up until the point where this dream catcher is in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, and the woman has it and she can use it to make candies. So I did that and I put it to this Browse book. So we're very strict on what they'll put in their bookstore, and they accepted it. I'm like, okay. So that got me writing again. That was during COVID. I had that idea years ago when we used to do Easter egg hunts, and I told my kids, imagine you find a kindertan and you take the candy, you get the animal power. They're like, you got to write that story. So then I wrote another part to it. And then I was doing book signings, and I went to the powwow, do book signings at the powwows. And then I turned that to a screenplay, but it doesn't read nearly as well as the novel. On this one, I like the screenplay format because I'm not Hemingway with my novel. I'm not descriptive or Steinbeck. I'm more inclined to say, here's the thing, here's the action, here's the dialogue, move on.
Mhm.
Um, so I think the screen and plus I did write this as a horror movie because the market is better. But then some of my buddies were sending me these photos of them because they wanted to be in the movie. And one was like so funny. It's Admiral Hess. He sent me a picture of Admiral Hess. And I'm like, I gotta make this a comedy. And it changed my whole way. So Admiral Hess, he ends up drinking too much. And he's a cool character in it, right? Um, so the screenplay was a really good way for me to write it. And then you can get software online that just helps you format the whole thing.
Yeah.
Um, so, formatting it ended up being much easier once I found the right software. And then, so my big challenge was, okay, I got this scene in the sushi bar, which is a little bit of horror, drama, and some comedy involved. How that can't be the funniest scene if it's in the front. What do I do to get the funniest scene at the end? So then I was in Hawaii at this point writing stuff, and I came up with it. With a robot dog is got to inject this virus into a robot whale, And so once I came up with that idea, I then had to figure out how do I get the robot whale there? How do I get the robot dog there? So I backed up from, but I had my scene that's a really effective climatic scene that's
Yeah.
also funny. And so now I had pretty much the story flushed out. The feedback I got from contests was very valuable. A couple of things they said is, you got some of these characters and they're not developed enough. You need to develop them more. So I developed Colonel Blake a little bit more, put a backstory into him a little bit. They said your ending, it's not resolved where the main characters slip. So just recently I added that. You probably haven't even seen that yet. And I added where he ends up resolving his whole conflict of his daughter and Gilly because she's like lonely still and she wants friends. So I added that. They also said from formatting, don't put pause in there so much. Actors hate that.
Yeah.
You don't have to say fade out, fade in. You can just people know you're on a new scene
Yeah.
by. So I changed a lot of that, and it's going to annoy people less, and it reads better. Um, so they gave me I got some good tips. I also got some great feedback from three contests. The Blacklist, I paid for that. From ISA, the feedback from them was so strong. And from the international LA International Screenplay, which I a semifinalist in that, which that's a big contest. That was a good win there. And the feedback is fantastic. This is so marketable. It's different. It's unique. It's got levity. It's not preachy. So they
Yeah.
hit. Yeah, and so that feedback was very encouraging. Um, so now it's a question of how do you get somebody to read it? Because I look at the stuff like animation's good because it sells.
Yeah.
Animation is probably the best thing in movie theaters because the kids are going. So this could easily be a good summer animated movie. Um, so that's the part I'm trying to get next is how do people how do you get some eyeballs on this thing?
Yeah. Well, it crosses generations, right? Kids can read
Yeah,
it, and kids will like it, and it's got some depth to it. So yeah,
yeah,
that's a sweet
yeah. The
spot,
kids will
right?
like it. It's action. It's got some action. It's got some toilet bowl humor a little bit.
Yeah.
Like the robot dog's always peeing water, and I worked that joke up to the point where and then the humping of the whale with the dog, which wouldn't be a graphic hump, but it's still dogs are always humping everything, so kids can get into that too. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then even the North Koreans with all the whales coming and the robot whales in the middle of them. So one of the comments was it's a good mix of military and marine life, and the visualizations on that would make very interesting visuals, and so that was kind of the way I was thinking as well as having all this mix of marine life and then the military aspect, and then just these characters caught in this chaotic whirlwind of stuff that's going on, and all of them are kind of thinking and planning, and you know,
Yeah.
it's almost like Stranger Things. The thing about Stranger Things, I think, was the hit for them is they always would plan something out. Like even the end of the season, I was like, okay, but then they're like, oh, we got to do this, and they'd all plan it out and try and execute that. And that was kind of their real formula, I thought. And there's a little bit of that in here where the team's always trying to figure things out together. How do they work together to solve, this pretty they want to attack. So why Pearl Harbor? The Koreans want to attack Pearl Harbor. And in the ending sense, it's just like the guy, they just don't like these they're not doing it for any real. Hey, I don't like the Space Needle. That's the next place. So it's almost like humorous. Well, we just picked that because we
Yeah.
didn't like
But it's
it.
hard to find who's the villain, who's besides the U.S. itself, who's the villain
There's
out there
really
right
no
now.
villain.
Yeah.
Because even North Korea is a kind of comical. And the woman who creates the robot whale with her son, she wants to frame North Korea because they manipulated her. So
Yeah.
they're building this big thing, and her and her son interaction are pretty fun. Then they're inside there in the little window looking at. So
Yeah.
even that's kind of a because she admires this octopus actually. So it's just kind of a fun. It's just there's not a lot of they that was a comment is who's the villain? I guess the only real villain is the colonel who's trying to kill the agent,
Yeah.
and he's the strongest villain.
So you reference like you before you reference like golfing. You kind of when you're golfing, do you like come up with ideas? Is it on the
It's a good
fairway?
way to come up with ideas. So one of the scenes that's funny because I got the two guys in it. Slip is one golfer, and Admiral Hess were two of my buddies, and he framed a picture of him that I used to kind of visualize Admiral Hess. But we're playing golf, and we're playing with this guy Tony Pellucci, and Tony's like, "How do I get in there?" I'm like, "You know what? If I add an Italian sushi chef
Yeah.
with the Japanese over them," I said, "You're in." And so a couple of days later, I said, Tony, I made it work because you got the Italian. And then in the news thing, the guy's like, was that an Italian sushi chef? So that joke kind of works, right? So that's all I added. That's the whole group, those three. But it helps just walking in general helps me think.
Gotcha. Where
If
you
it's nice, it's nice out.
where are you able to play golf now or
It's tomorrow. It should be warm enough. I'm in Delaware. It was really cold. I played
okay.
last week. I'll play this week. I'll play tomorrow. Not tomorrow. The next day it's warm enough. Then it gets cold again. But I'm kind of looking for a winter spot. I think Portugal. I was over to Portugal. I like it there. I think I'm going to go there during the winter for a few months. And it's really beautiful weather. I mean, it's fantastic.
Like the Algarve down
65
south
during the
there?
day. Yeah, in the Algarve there,
Yeah.
a place called Villamore.
Do you
It's
like
got
golf
golf
then?
there.
What's your
I
handicap?
like it because it's X. I'm not my handicap's like 18. Like I
Okay.
strike the ball well, but then you miss a few shots. All of a sudden you get up there. I got it down to 12 something a couple of years ago, but I'm usually 16 to 18 now, which is a pretty solid. I mean, I'm not. I'm usually they do A B C D. I'm usually either B or C player on the team, depending on how many people are in there. Um, but I like the fact it's exercise. It's
Yeah.
good for your mind. You're interacting. You come up with ideas. So all the guys here, they know about my story and stuff. So they're always asking me and what's going on with it. And um, so
That's cool.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I was trying to come up with the next idea. I haven't come up with it yet. Um, but
So you said
it'll
you
hit
like
me eventually.
sports too, right? Like
Yeah, I
you
like watching
watch.
sports. Yeah, I watch. I like watching recording the game so I can skip the commercials and stuff.
What do you in Delaware? Who's the rooting interest team?
Well, I'm from New Jersey, near New York,
The
so I'm a
Giants?
Giants fan. Yeah, so they stink. But now it's like I can't hate the Chiefs. I can't hate they're not in it. I liked the Eagles last year because Barkley was on it, but this year I didn't like him as much. So now it's like, who do I root for?
Well, I
So
can give you a suggestion to root for.
okay.
They're the only team in New York.
Oh yeah, Buffalo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
the
rooting for Buffalo. Buffalo's to the top now. And
yeah.
yesterday, when the 49ers were playing the Eagles, I wasn't sure. Soon as it was kickoff, I'm like, 49ers. I knew it right away. So
Yeah.
sometimes it takes me to kickoff. And I like the Titans because the looks pretty good. I think they play the
Titans. What
Steelers.
are you talking about?
I'm
You
not
mean
the
the
Titans. I'm
Texans?
sorry.
You mean
The,
the
the
Texans?
Texans. Yeah, the
Yeah, yeah.
Texans. I made that mistake a couple of years ago. I bet on the Titans to win. And I'm like, wait, I meant the Texans. The Texans are winning.
So,
So
but
that
in
was it was
Delaware,
only
you're
five
close to
bucks.
Jersey, I guess you go like Philadelphia would be your team or people's teams
Yeah,
or like
yeah. In Jersey, it's Philadelphia. So in Delaware, it's the Ravens,
oh
the
Baltimore, yeah, gotcha.
Commanders,
Yeah,
and the Eagles. And
gotcha.
you get some Pittsburgh people down here too, because Pittsburgh, I guess Pennsylvania. But those teams but there's a lot of Jets and Giant fans here too.
Gotcha. I just gave you the
There's a lot
suggestion
of
because
people.
I'm from Niagara Falls, so basically,
Yeah, no, I'm
diehard,
I'm for the Bills. Josh Allen's
diehard Bills fan.
amazing.
Yeah, you
He
guys
ran
beat
that
us
one
in the Super
play
Bowl
all the
25.
way
So yeah,
through. Oh
what's
my,
that?
he can't. He had that one play where he's just pushing
Yeah,
everybody to pile up on his legs, and he scored a touchdown on
yeah,
that. And he was getting the stuffing beat out of him yesterday. He's so tough.
yeah. And his
They don't
wife,
have as good as.
to tie
Mhm.
it back to the film industry, his wife is at the Golden Globes. She's pregnant too, right? Haley Seinfeld. So
Yeah. Oh
she's
yeah.
3,000 miles away because she
Uh-huh.
got nominated for a Golden Globe. So she can't even be at
Oh,
his pregnant wife's away from him, so he's all
I
alone. And
know.
he's getting beat
That's
up and
amazing.
is like, I'm sure he wants to be at the Golden
He's
Globe
sore.
too. He's like, why did I make the playoffs? Like,
So
what
is
should I?
that
Yeah.
is that Seinfeld's daughter?
No, it's the Haley Steinfeld. Not Seinfeld, Steinfeld.
Oh, okay, okay. I was always wondering about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm rooting for
What's
the
that? Do you
Bills
ever see
today.
True
I
Grit?
root against.
You see the
What's
movie
that?
True Grit with like
Yeah,
the Coen Brothers movie?
yeah, that was a good one.
She's the girl. She's the young girl in True Grit.
Oh, she was
Yeah,
good in that. She was really good in that.
fantastic.
Yeah, she's fantastic. That movie was good. They redid it, and I like the redo of that.
Yeah,
Sometimes the redos
very
aren't as good,
talented
but that
couple.
was,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
that's right.
yeah. So next week, yeah, Denver. Yeah,
Oh yeah, that'd be a good game.
yeah.
I hope that I don't like Denver, so I root against Denver.
Okay.
Plus, with the Bills playing, it makes it easy choice. Root against
Yeah,
Denver.
that's your team, man. That's your team. You're a Jersey guy.
That's my
Like,
team now, New York.
yeah, that's
That's
your
right.
team. There you go.
Yep.
We gotta win. We gotta win one.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, because those four they lost. Oh my God, and that one against the Giants, they should have won
Yeah, don't
when they
remind
missed
me.
the kick.
I was a
Yeah,
teenager and
that's
I was like, I had an exam the next day and I failed the exam. I was in
of
tears.
course. They can't have exams after a game like that.
Yeah,
They can't. We'd get on conference calls on Monday, and the Patriots got always like be in that great mood, and everybody was like, "What the? Why are we even having this call right now?"
yeah.
Like a conference
Belichick.
call.
Belichick outsmarted us on that, and I was a secret fan of him ever since because he outsmarted our team, and it was like with this defensive game plan in that Super Bowl, and I was
Yeah,
like,
he was always good. Yeah, that's right. He was on that team. They just let the guy run, Thurman run, and then they kind of stopped him at the end. They goes to the end zone.
yeah. And Jim Kelly wasn't smart enough. He was calling his own plays, and he was like, all he had to do was run the ball. It's
Yeah.
the most infuriating rewatch Super Bowl ever because
Oh,
we should
so
have
I didn't think about that. He's running his own. He's calling his own
he calls his own
plays.
plays, which is dumb. And Belichick didn't think
Not
much of them, and he outsmarted them. But anyways,
Yeah, so he should have
yes,
just run all the time.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So we gotta win one. I'm still in depression
Yeah,
mode.
that's good. Let's do it
33
this
years
year. That
later.
sounds
Yeah,
good. That'd
it's
be
been
sweet.
36 years, and I'm still like sad about it.
This is a tougher one this year because their team's kind of beat up. They're not quite as good
Yeah.
as they were even the last, and the Chiefs are always in the way. But there's not as much competition this year either. So hopefully this is their year.
Well, we got a little lucky yesterday, so I'm gonna
Yeah.
rewatch the game tomorrow. I'm gonna like I think we got a little bit lucky. I'm gonna study it, and then I'll call up McDermott and give him my advice. Yeah.
Yeah, so you need a little luck. You need a little bit of luck.
All
I know
right. Yeah.
when Manning beat Brady, he threw one that would have been an interception on the sideline, and the guy didn't catch it. That would have been the
Yeah.
game. And then the other guy who never drops it, the receiver. So there was some luck in those games too.
Well, oh, you're in your Super Bowls? Yeah.
Yeah, the first one, and when the Patriots are undefeated, and
Oh,
there were two
that's a great
plays I
Super
remember.
Bowl. Yeah, that's a great
Oh
Super
yeah,
Bowl. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. That's it. Then they won again. Yeah. And then Manningham got that one on the
yeah.
sideline, right?
Oh, what a
Yeah.
beautiful toss that was. That might have been a better throw than the helmet one.
Yeah.
The helmet one, but that throw to Manningham was like right in
Yeah.
there.
And he's going to go in the Hall of Fame, Eli, right? So,
But he should, for that throw alone, he should go in there because he talks about it. He says, "I see the way the safeties were, and I knew I had a short window to put it in."
yeah.
Now he might have said that afterwards, but that's
Yeah.
what he's thinking. I'm going to have just a short window before they collapse, and he put it right in that window.
Well, I'll say this about Eli. Like I can tell he's really smart, and his brother, like Peyton, likes to tell people how smart he is, and Eli's
Yeah,
kind of more
Eli
modest. It's
just
like
sits
I don't need
back.
to do that. Yeah, I
They
can just
need
be.
they
Yeah,
need Peyton to kind of back up, chill out a little bit on that show. It's too
yeah,
much now.
yeah.
I'm going to
But
watch them
this,
tonight though, because the Steelers
oh
against
yeah,
the
they're on
Texans.
tonight.
I'll
Yeah,
watch. I'll watch them
but
tonight.
Peyton likes to tell you how smart he is, right? So
Yeah,
like,
no. And you're like just the younger brother is like, I'm smarter than you. I'm not worried about
yeah.
it.
Okay, man. Great
Hey, so what
script.
is the purpose?
Yeah,
What are you going to do
but
with this thing? What do you do with this?
we just help you promote it. That's our job. This thing, and
No,
then
but
like,
what's the next, like this meeting here?
oh,
What
well,
happened?
well, let's wrap it up, and I can tell you after we wrap it up. So
Okay.
congratulations on the script. It's fantastic. And
Thank you.
let's talk again when you write your next award-winning script.
Okay, great.
Thanks.